Is someone or something living rent-free in your mind? Are you playing endless emotional loops that just carry on in your head over and over? I certainly have. I certainly still do to some extent. I caught myself driving once, and for at least 15 minutes I was arguing while driving in my head against this circumstance and this other person. Now, the crux of why something or someone lives rent-free in your mind is because of the mind's innate desire to think, to create mental thoughts. I'll be writing about this more in the future in a multi-part series called the ISES series. So I say ISES because mentalizes. That's what we're talking about today. Mentalizing. And the mind's endless ability to just create thoughts endlessly, right? So the crux of liberating your mind, the crux of being free from any narrative or story that you're playing in your head over and over is, number one, being aware of it. You have to be aware of it and you have to observe it. That's the first thing. And number two, you don't necessarily have to understand it, although understanding it can facilitate letting it go. And so that's what we'll be doing today as well, understanding it. So why is it that something lives rent-free in your mind? And the truth is this: you're getting something from it. There's a payoff that you're receiving from it. All you have to do is let go of this payoff. And that's it. So what exactly is the payoff? Well, the payoff could be anything that you're getting from the story that the mind has woven for you. So in the story, obviously the mind has painted you as the hero, and it includes ups and downs that you would expect in a movie. You're the hero and there's a challenge to overcome. You're the victim through the highs and the lows of life. Pain, sorrow, melancholy, and the battles that you have to fight to win. And how the main character has overcome a big challenge and changed. So there's archetypal themes in movies. Now the mind and the ego is the same. It weaves a story and mentalizes around it, emotionalizes around it, dramatizes the story so that you'll hook on to the story. Then you'll believe that you're the identity. That's the trap. That's the trap, my brothers and sisters. So, surrender. Now, so the first thing was being aware that it's happening. And the second thing is letting go of the payoff completely. Identifying the payoff and letting it go. So what is the payoff then? Now, within the movie that the mind creates of you being their hero, it will always attempt to make the hero look better, to increase its self-esteem. So when someone or a certain situation lives rent-free in your mind, the mind is almost attempting to fix the past, to reweave the story in a way that the ego looks better to itself. So its image, its self-esteem. Now, like in my previous articles, self-esteem is irrelevant at some level because you are a child of God. You are literally born of source, of truth. You do not need to prove your worth. It is not something that you need to earn. Certainly not something measured with materialistic, external status, symbols, stuff, right? So when you've realized this, you'll see that self-esteem applies only to the ego and to the false identity that we believe we are. Now, identifying the payoff requires meditation. You have to be completely silent and honest with yourself with what you are getting from it. You are receiving something from it that you have to be willing to let go of. So maybe in the story you think you're right? Because the main character is always right. You're always right. I'm always right. So the central character tries to make itself more right, or it edits the story, and you're attempting to mentalize one-upping the other person, right? Like, have you ever played a loop where you just imagined if you said the perfect thing at the perfect time and the other person is bummed out and you've won, right? Admit it, man. I'm not the only one. So address your consciousness work at surrendering and letting go of the payoff, whatever that may be. In this one, in my own observations of the thoughts that pass by within the mind on the TV screen, it's always got something to do with me being right, justified with a bunch of reasons and logic, rationale as to why I'm right and the other person is wrong. Yeah, why I'm the hero and the other person is the villain, right? Because that's how the ego operates. It's always a dualistic this or that. So if I'm the hero, the other person must be the bad guy, right? If I'm good, then the other person's bad. All of it is, of course, illusion, created only in the mind, that only amplifies the illusion of being separate from source, because the identity and the ego mind complex is strengthened by these mental patterns that we hold. So this habit of the mind is literally what keeps you trapped. It keeps you trapped in the illusion. So to just cut right through the heart of it is to surrender the payoff. Identify it within yourself and address the willingness at the payoff. Address the willingness to let go of the payoff itself. And when you no longer desire nor want the payoff because you've been letting it go, or you've prayed for help and assistance in surrendering the payoff, the narrative no longer has as much hold over you. The story that previously would play in your mind rent-free for hours, you're no longer hooked by it anymore, right? You're free. You're free of it. And what you'll find is that the narrative, the length of the narrative, previously it's, it's a whole story. It's a complete Hollywood movie plot. This person went and did this to you and they hurt you. Oh, they're such a bad person. And this is how you responded, and you acted in such a holy way. And but then this happened and that happened. The whole thing fell apart, and the story just goes on and on. You come home and the chicken is burnt, and it's like, why don't you pick up the milk, man? You forgot the milk, and then the chicken just gets thrown out the window. And what you'll find is that the story begins to shorten itself, yes? Previously, they live in your head rent-free for what seems like an eternity. But the sooner you catch it, the sooner you observe that you're hooked and you're trapped on this narrative because of the payoff that's playing rent-free in your mind, in this self-imprisoned jail that you've created for yourself because you're the architect of your own pain. You create it for yourself. Now, when you realize this, the story begins to shorten. You catch it earlier and earlier. So you don't even get to the part where the chicken gets thrown out the window. You don't even argue about the milk anymore. It's not even about like, oh, but then you did this, and then this whole thing. It no longer becomes this whole story whereby it plays endlessly. The length of the story gets cut shorter because you're able to extinguish the story earlier, because you've become more centered, more aware, and you've got the ability to let go of anything at any time. Okay? So I've got a couple of technical issues here, but I think I've covered the gist of it. In that is, if you haven't learned anything in this video, that's okay. Yes, just remember this next thing I'm about to say. The real consciousness work is surrendering the payoff that you get from the narrative. And that way you will slowly, in your own time, at your own pace, the mind will begin mentalizing less. All right? That's the crux of it. Please remember, the power is within you. Yes, you hold the key. You hold the key to freeing yourself from anyone or anything that lives rent-free in your mind. All right. Peace be with you. Done.